I just bought this 2021 Toyota GR Supra off an auction, sight unseen, for $5,500. The auction website did not list an odometer reading. It didn't say whether the engine ran. It didn't say whether the transmission shifted. There are a lot of unknowns on this vehicle. The reason why they didn't list any mileage or whether the engine ran is because this vehicle, according to the report, was actually crashed 3 years ago. I have no clue why an insurance company would hold on to a vehicle for 3 years before auctioning it off. If anybody works for an insurance company and can tell me that answer, I would love to know. But let's take a tour around the vehicle, show you the damage and what all has to be repaired. So the most obvious and the most brutal damage of the vehicle is obviously this front end collision. I'm sure everything in the first 3 feet of this vehicle is completely destroyed. The coolers, the crash bar, the headlights, the bumper, the wheel liners, all of it destroyed. I would love the full story of this crash report because the passenger side is also messed up. The fender, the door, the quarter panel, all of it dead and gone. Taking a look from the back, the roof is fine, very, very dirty, but fine. The rear hatch, glass, and the hatch itself is okay, but the rear bumper is cracked, the rear splitter is gone, and as you can tell, we have one exhaust tip, and there should have been another one right here. The driver's side does get a little better, where the quarter panel is fine, the door is fine, but the driver's side fender is also messed up. When you have a vehicle that's been sitting for 3 years with both windows down, we have a whole bunch of leaves, and worse than that, a whole bunch of mold. The dash is moldy, the doors are moldy, the seats are moldy, not to mention the center console is not even there. I would love to know the story about the center console. They didn't remove it with the bolts, they literally cut it out. You can see the plastic here is just, it has, you know, sawtooth marks. They just cut it out, and unfortunately, while they were cutting, they cut some wires. So we're gonna have to do some wire repair. I have 3 goals for this vehicle in this video. 1, get the mileage. 2, see if the engine runs. And step 3, if the engine is good, I wanna see if the ECU is tunable. The ECUs in the Supras were locked out after, I believe, June of 2021. So if my ECU is dated before then, it's way easier to tune than the ones after then. They're both still tunable, but if the ECU is after someday, you gotta send it off to some hacker in Finland or Russia for them to jailbreak it, I don't know. So when your Supra's dead and you wanna get into the trunk, you just go ahead and crawl through your moldy interior. So if you can see that white thing right in the middle there, that's what I gotta pull. I just have to crawl through here, I think, or get something really long to pull it. Honestly, I would just break the back window if it was already cracked, or just take the back window out. But I think I'm gonna use this to try to reach back there and pull the lever. Oh, there we go. All right, let's discover what's in this trunk together. 1, a tan interior piece. My interior is black. This is for a completely different car. Yeah, you never know what's gonna be in a car that's been sitting there for 3 years. So, this might belong to this car, but broken. Looks like we got either a front or a rear under tray slash maybe a splitter even. Broken. And here, oh look, it's the corner of the rear bumper that is no longer a part of the car. You know, probably not gonna reuse that either. Last plastic piece. This piece here is actually in good condition. I think this is license plate for maybe the front. This might be the front license plate bracket. So good part, I will hang on to it. We got it's a phone charger piece for like the center consoles. Now, I'm sure I'm gonna be doing a lot of working back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this piece off. This looks to be in good condition. How does it remove from the rest? Just clips in. So let's take this out. And now we can take the trunk floor out. And that finally exposes most, if not all, of our trunk. I like what I'm seeing back here, way better than the front of the car. This also exposes one of many BMW logos that are gonna be on this car. Anyway, back on with the progress. As you can see, I thought the battery was just completely dead, but it turns out it's just disconnected. So I say we put this negative terminal back on, hop in the car, and see if we have any life in it. Oh, we do have life. Well, I connected the battery and immediately it came to life, and I heard fuel pump prime, so if there's any fuel leaks, we'll definitely find them. But Look, we have taillights. I've never seen these taillights in person. I like them a lot. And guys, the dash is on. The dash is on. How many miles does it have? Oh, let me get in. We have obviously a whole bunch of warnings. Okay, I took some time to try to get our key to get recognized. Wasn't working, changed the battery, all that stuff. But we don't need it to get our mileage. Turns out you can just push this button right here on the side, and there we have it right on the dash, 3151. Our Supra only has 3,151 miles, guys. That is an awesome surprise. This is officially my newest car and the car with the least miles I've ever owned. I've never owned a brand new car. This is the closest thing I got, so we have to get it on the road. All right, that's goal number 1 complete, 3,151 miles, an amazing sight to be seen. Second goal, the most, some stuff fell out. Goal number 2, we gotta see if the engine's good. It's gonna be a little harder than I thought. One, the Supra is not recognizing the key. That means that either the module had got water damage, rats chewed up some wires, or maybe there's some grounds missing. It could be an easy fix, but it's gonna be a little bit harder to see if the engine's good. We're gonna start by getting all this trashed up bodywork and coolers out of the way so we can at least do a visual inspection and see what we see. So next up, I'm probably gonna have to cut some stuff off, but let's get going. Believe it or not, hood latch doesn't work. Can't lift it up. God, stuff's just falling off this left and right. This fell out a little bit ago. This, I think, are headlights, so more trash. All right, with this thing being an absolute crumpled up mess, I can actually just see the hood latch right here. And I think if I just unbolt it, I can take the hood off, or at least lift it up a little bit. All right, with the passenger side hood latch taken off, how far does that get us? Not too far before running into the windshield. Let's take off the hood hinges. I have plenty of access, so. Hood hinges are off, hood latches are off. Let go. Hood hinges are off, latches are off. Oh God, I forgot that there's probably windshield washer hoses. Well, our engine cover fell out. Hose here from somewhere. Wait! Oh, Jesus. Oh, there we go. All right, forgot about the windshield washers. Hood off. Look at this. We had plastic pieces falling off all over, and our engine's pretty tight in there. I hope everything's okay. We have so much trash. I mean, like, we have a Bosch radar sensor. We have a trailer hitch, or wiring, not the hitch, but do Supras have towing capacity? Unbroken. I'll keep this. We have 2 piles here. We have our trash pile and we have our good pile, and our good pile is pretty small as of now. Let's continue adding to the trash pile. Oh, hold on. This is a little concerning. No, the oil cap is off. Oh, what's gonna be in here? It doesn't look rusty. Let me get a light so you guys can see. Okay. Oh, and there is rust. Look at, there's water right, or there's rust on the camshaft right there. Oh no. You know what that means? That means we definitely have to at least take the top apart. Oh no, the water got in here. The oil cap was off. Why is the oil cap off? Why couldn't they just leave that on? Okay, well, let's keep digging. Let's get some of this trash off. Well, for one, I mean, the radar sensor itself looks okay. So for now, I'll keep this. If I don't know if it's broken, it'll stay over here. Maybe right in the middle. We got a maybe pile started. Fabric and metal and more trash. The tote or the ratchet strap can all go into the trash pile. The hood will make an excellent spot for me to put all of the trash in one spot. It's like a little cradle. Okay, well, finding the oil cap off was very disappointing. Finding rust on that right off the bat is sad news. I mean, we for sure know some water got into the engine. Next question I have is, did this front impact damage the block at all? I mean, look how tight it is up here. It's really close to the engine. So next up, what you're gonna see is me taking off a lot of this front to inspect farther into the engine bay. Guys, you see this? Oh. We might have, dare I say, some suspension issues. Plastic. That's ruined. That intake box is broken. Oh! Well, I didn't even see this until now. I'll show you what I just saw. All right, an update on where we are. So you can see I have most of the airbox out. Just got this last bit. A lot of this front plastic off, front crash bar, along with the top radiator core support. And that uncovered this. That is, you're not supposed to be able to see that. The valve cover's right there. And it looks like, I'm sure those metal tabs on that camshaft, not supposed to be bent like that. And along with, I mean, look, all of this engine harness wiring is cut. Wires do not work when they're cut. So far what we're uncovering is that the engine's gonna need some work, for sure on the top end. Hopefully the bottom end looks good. I'm guessing we're gonna have to pull the engine to do most of the frame repair. While we have the engine out, it'll probably be a disassembly to make sure everything's in tip-top shape. That does mean more work and already more parts to be ordered than I was expecting. I was really hoping that the engine would be in perfect running condition, which I can now see was a tall ask for how hard this got hit on the front end. But if you guys watched my last build, you know I'm not worried about an engine build. Sure, this one's a little bit more complex by like 2-3 times the difficulty, but I like a challenge. If I did like a challenge, I wouldn't have bought this car. The question still remains on whether the block is okay. You know, if we hit hard enough to break the valve cover, which is plastic, we might have hit hard enough to hit the block and potentially crack it. If we cracked the block, I don't want to get any ideas in your guys' head, but we could just 2JZ swap it, make the Supra a real Supra, you know what I'm saying? But if this engine's good, I'm definitely going to be using it. These are all questions that will be answered hopefully shortly. Let's get back to it. Woo! That's not a good sign. This radiator fan is absolutely smashed. Oh God. Ah, yeah. Woo! Whoops, I dropped it. Let's get the rest of these coolers out of the way and we can take a look at what's going on. There we go. All right. Auxiliary radiator off. Another cooler off. Guys, I'm not lying when I'm not familiar with this car. I think this is probably for transmission, would be my guess. And all of this plastic fell off when we pulled the radiators off. There we go, rest of the air box out. Okay, we're all the way down to the turbo here. There we go. Got this broken piece off. Oh, there we go. All right, let's take a look at what we can see so far with this engine. So far, from what I can see, it looks like the harmonic balancer got a little scratched up from like the radiator fan. The water pump got damaged, so I'm definitely gonna need a water pump and the housing. The reason why I say the housing 2 is because the AC compressor bolts to it, and you can see that those tabs are broken off. Along with the water pump housing tabs being broken, you can see that the AC compressor pulley itself is broken, so I'll need to replace at least the pulley. I don't know if I can replace that or if I gotta replace the whole thing. Looking at the turbo, I don't know if you'll be able to tell on camera. There's no play in the turbo, it spins freely. The only downside is that one of the corner of the fins got a little bent, I'm guessing by some plastic pieces that fell in. The front of the block, the front of the head, the side of the block, everything I can see of the block and the head so far is A-okay. So far it looks like wiring harness, water pump, valve cover, maybe an exhaust camshaft if I can't clean it up, and we might be on the road with this engine. Surprise, I got a haircut. It's actually been 2 or 3 days. It's been really humid. I haven't been able to get into the shop. It's so humid that there was literally, the concrete was water. Underneath the cars was just pure water from how humid it was. So we're back. Plans have changed. While I've been thinking, engine's gotta come out. In order to do the frame repair, it's gonna be way easier with the engine out. I'm gonna drain the oil to see if there's any water in it, then pull it. Okay, we're up in the air. Shake test passed. Yeah, destruction. All right, skid plate time. All right, this is a pretty big moment for the build. We're gonna see how much water is in this engine. Oh, none. All right, huge win for the engine. No water came out. Oil floats on top of water, so if there's any water in this engine, it would have came out first. And as you saw from the clip, oil came straight out, no water at all. I didn't notice any. Huge win for the engine. All right, nothing really more to do except for start getting all the wiring and hoses off to pull the engine. So I'm gonna start by cleaning up this rear and all the leaves. Gee whiz. That was the hardest part of the car so far, is taking the windshield wipers off. All right, this cross member here is bent. We will definitely need a new one of these. This should be our ECU out, and we should be able to see the date on it. If we look right there, January 11th, 2021. All right, so that's our ECU out. We saw the date, January 11th, 2021. That's definitely way after June of 2020. I looked up the date in between days here. That doesn't mean we can't tune the vehicle. It doesn't mean it's gonna be stock. It just means that we have to spend a little bit more money to tune our vehicle. Okay, so giant plastic piece. This is also broken. We got broken tab. All the tabs that hold this to the body are broken, so I'll have to buy a new one of these as well. I'm so excited that every piece of plastic on this car is broken. I'm sure the plastic pieces are gonna be so cheap, it won't even make me cry a little bit. Okay, throttle body here is in the way of this AC line, so we're gonna pop this throttle body off so we can take this AC line off. All right, throttle body off, looks fantastic. This should absolutely be reusable. All right, now we should be able to take this AC line off. This part of the AC system off. Tons of broken parts on this. This will have to be replaced as well. All right, 2 more hoses on this reservoir. We're getting down to being ready to pull the engine. Surprisingly, I think this might be reusable. It looks like this bottom piece is broken, but I think it might be reusable still. The coolant reservoir is cheap. I'll just buy another one. All right, huge progress today. Everything's disconnected from the engine, all the wires, all the fuel lines, all the coolant lines, all the AC lines, good to go. So I believe all we need to do is take off the drive shaft, take off the exhaust, take off the motor mounts, take off the transmission mounts. Out comes the engine and transmission. So I'm gonna call it a night. I'm tired, it's late, and I'll see you in 3, 2, 1 right now. All right, I'm back. It is the next day. We need to get this engine out. It should be pretty quick. Unfortunately, there is supposed to be a lifting tab here, and we do not have one. And I won't be able to get one for another week. So we're gonna make our own. I have some steel here. We just need to drill out 2 bolt holes and a bigger hole on top for lifting. And I'm just gonna use this since I don't wanna make you guys wait a week just for me to pull the engine. So first things first, from center of hole to center of hole, we have 1.135 inches. So we're just gonna mark that here. So that is where our bolt holes will be. And obviously we just line them up in the center. Good enough. The bolt hole needs to be at least 0.31 inches wide. And the drill bit I got on the drill press is 0.33 inches. So let's drill these holes. All right, bracket to lift the engine's coming along. Our 2 holes we drilled line up fantastically. All right, for this last hole, we got a 0.49 inch bolt. So we have a 0.5 inch drill bit. Let's drill this last hole. Clean up the edges a little bit so I don't cut myself. And you can see we got our 3 bolts that we're gonna be using. Let's move on. Okay, I've decided that I'm gonna take the intake off just because it's gonna be a lot easier to get the engine hoist onto this rear lift point. Probably not 100% necessary, but let's do it. Okay, I believe that's it. Oh, forgot one wire here. We got one more coolant line here. Okay, that's our intake off. Easy peasy. Okay, for how little work that was absolutely worth it. Now we have really easy access to our rear lift point and super good access to our front lift point. Breaking news on the Supra. I've been underneath it, getting it ready to pull the engine. As you guys know, I don't have a lift, so I just did it off camera. It's a terrible camera angle, you guys wouldn't really see much, but that was really my first time getting underneath the car, and I have some terrible news. The drive shaft broke in the accident, which tore up the heat shield and the exhaust. The exhaust is fine, we needed a new one anyway. The heat shield I'm hoping is cheap, it's not too much metal. Drive shaft, no clue how much that costs. But the worst part is underneath the car. The drive shaft broke. I'm sure it still had a little bit of momentum and it hit the floor and damaged the floor. Now, the floor is still repairable. The Supra build is still on. It's not like it's doomed. Taking a look at my laptop here, I can show you the piece that's damaged. It's this top piece here. So as you can see, it's just a little bit more damage underneath the car that we have to spot weld out, re-weld a new piece in. That piece was only $75. It's not making or breaking the bank. It's just really surprising and it caught me off guard. That being said, we're almost ready to pull the engine. We're gonna put the hoist on, unbolt the engine mount, unbolt the transmission mount, and out she comes. We're on our lift points. So I'm gonna go underneath, take off our motor mounts, and see if we can get it out. All right, engine and transmission mounts are out. Let's pull it. Oh, another surprise. So many surprises, I just love this car. Look, the engine mount's broken. Hopefully the block is okay. Oh, guys, look, both engine mounts are broken. Well, the engine and transmission, it's out. This makes this a little harder. I was gonna put the engine down on the engine mounts, but they're broken. And the transmission mount's broken too. I didn't mention that yet. Okay, we're gonna have to take the downpipe off in order to have enough room to put this down, just because this hangs lower than everything else. So I'm gonna quick take off the downpipe. All right, downpipe off. Okay, well that took some finagling, but engine's out. Look at our parts pile. Radiators, hoods, fans, bash bars, charge piping. So this side is like really bad. This stuff is also really bad. That stuff's kind of okay. I think we can use most of that stuff there. We have lots of work to do on the engine. We have lots of work to do on the frame and body. We have lots of work to do on the interior. If you guys want to follow along with the crumpled up Supra build, make sure you subscribe so you see when I post my next video, because who would want to miss out on all of this repair? Look at this. You guys think I can put this back together? I have no clue. This is the biggest project I've ever done. At the beginning of the episode, I said it might be the biggest project. No, I'm pretty sure this is the biggest project I've ever done. And I'm so glad I get to do it with you guys. Thanks for watching. Like I said, subscribe if you want to follow along with the progress, and I'll see you in the next one.